Briefly, I'm going to introduce to you Vanessa Russell. Vanessa Russell, I can say this, from Catholic Charities Atlanta. And she's going to talk to us about what they do and how they can support us and we can support them. So, Vanessa, if you would do a brief intro of yourself, a little bio, if you wouldn't mind, and then you can go into your presentation. And if you could
Sure.
please, everyone else, mute your microphones for us. Thank you.
Thank you. I am, my name is Vanessa Russell. I'm the CEO of Catholic Charities. I came to Catholic Charities about 5.5 years ago. My path was a little unusual, I think, for a nonprofit social service agency. I'm not a social worker. I've never been in the nonprofit world. I was on the board of Catholic Charities. I'm a 26-year veteran of the corporate world. And my husband was on the board. His term ended, and he thought that it would be a great idea if I joined. I think he was just too lazy to find somebody else. So I did step into the fray, if you will, and enjoyed my time on the board, but didn't really go into board meetings and looking at financial statements, understand very much of what the board did. And so I was really kind of thinking about going off and doing something else. And at that time, my father became terminally ill, and I spent about, he lived about 40, 45 days after his diagnosis. And most of that time I was with him. And during that time, I thought, wow, I'm one of 7 kids. He could have talked to me about anything. And he's an Army veteran, was in Korea and Vietnam Wars. And I thought he could have, we could have spent the time talking about a whole lot of things. And he spent the time really challenging my decision to not work anymore. I had decided to get out of the corporate world. I retired, and I thought it was me time. And basically his response was, you spent 26 years in the corporate world learning and honing skills, and now you're going to do nothing with it. That doesn't really sound like a very good plan to me. And so, after he passed in the funeral, I came back to the board and just really doubled down. And I said, he's right. I need to do more. And so their CEO left. I had the time at that time. And I said, 90 days, that's it. I'll do a few things that need to be done so the incoming CEO will make it easier for them. And in that 90 days, I walked around the offices, and the only image I could paint for you are little legs hanging off of chairs. Because every time I peeked into an office, that's what I saw. I saw parents deeply engrossed in conversation with our staff, and I saw these small children with their legs swinging off these chairs. And I thought, how comforting it is to know that if the parents are here, that they're going to get help, that they're going to be put on a good path. But I couldn't help but look at those children and reflect on my own upbringing, one of 7, military father, where my mother had to take us everywhere. And, somebody always used to say, well, how is discipline in your household? And it's like, well, you were not allowed to ever get out of control because you were everywhere where they went. And these kids are really super disciplined. And I can tell it's because they go everywhere that their parents have to go. And I thought, where else would they rather be than here? Probably a million places. But how full my heart is that they are here, which means that they can take the first step to getting help. And I just couldn't walk away from that. So that was 5.5 years ago. So that's how I, got to Catholic Charities. And I feel like my mission, whether my staff likes it or not, is to pour into this organization whatever skill and talent that God has given me to make this mission both relevant and successful, not for us, but for the people that we serve. So that's my background. So I'd like to share a little bit about what Catholic Charities is all about, because I like to think of myself more as the CST than the CEO, the chief storyteller, because it's really in the stories of these clients that you see the services and the mission that we provide. So I very early on stole this byline, if you will, from Pope Francis, that charity that leaves the poor as they are is not sufficient. And I would say that's the premise of this organization. We are not here to keep people where they are. We're here to provide transformative services that help families become self-sufficient. So I'd like to just give you a little whiteboard here. I think I had it up before, if I can figure out how to get back there, that describes a little bit more about how we do that and what services we provide.
Working with vulnerable populations for nearly 70 years, our mission is to provide supportive services that enable families to achieve self-sufficiency. Our goal is to leverage our experience, services, and partnerships to accompany families as they break the cycle of instability and rise out of poverty once and for all. Our client programs are designed to 1. Address security and well-being, 2. Develop critical life skills, and 3. Provide education and access to employment. We help families secure shelter, food, and resources to keep them safe. Refugees become financially self-sufficient within 90 days of arrival. Families learn how to budget, improve their credit score, and buy a home. Seniors with affordable housing and food security. Individuals improve their English language skills to prepare for better jobs and citizenship. Vulnerable parents improve their relationships with their children, strengthen and keep their families together. Veterans access resources, receive economic support, and develop skills to find and keep jobs. Children recover from trauma. Families repair their relationships and build coping skills to improve their lives. Individuals understand their legal rights and obtain permanent legal status. We believe that charitable assistance that leaves the poor as they are is not sufficient. We provide a hand up, not just a handout, so families can live independent lives free of financial instability and homelessness. We rely on supporters like you to serve our community, support our mission, and give your neighbor a chance to attain self-sufficiency. Learn more at www.catholiccharitiesatlanta.org.
So that's a little bit about the services that we provide. So who we serve basically in the Atlanta area, we're very strong in the top 4 counties, DeKalb, Gwinnett, Cobb, Fulton, and then there's a wide variety of counties that we serve. And this is from the year before, so last year is even more varied in the outer counties other than those top 4. We've seen a real trend. When I first got here, I would say 50% of our clients were men, 50% were women. I think there's a real feminization of poverty that occurs in general. And so, we're seeing those trends now, almost 70% women, 30% men. And so basically half of our client base is Hispanic Latino, about 30% Black, African American, and then Asian, Caucasian, multi-race clients. Last year in the pandemic, we served less clients than the year before for a variety of reasons. Some of our programming couldn't happen in person, technology issues that clients had. So we served about 12,000 people last year. The whiteboard talked more really about the services that we offered, so I'm going to skip that. But what I really want to focus on are sort of the outcomes that we try to provide for clients. What is important to us is not what we do or how we do it, but rather what result we get for our clients. So in our after school program, about 80% of those third graders improve their reading skill, 83% improve speaking, and 100% advance to the next grade. This is an after school tutoring program that we do at Indian Creek Elementary School, where there's a good number of refugee children. The school determines who goes into this program, so it's not only refugee children, but we are one of their preferred providers for this after-school program. We do it mostly with volunteers. There are about 40, 50 volunteers and AmeriCorps volunteers on top of that. Last year, 100% of the refugees that we welcomed to the Atlanta area were financially self-sufficient within 6 months of arriving. So that's from the time they walked off the airplane 6 months later. 93% of the students in our ESL workforce program graduated and earned a certificate in guest services so that they could pursue careers in the hospitality industry. Within 6 months, our financial coaching clients increased their credit score on average by 32 points, and they increased the amount of money that they saved on average $1,600. And that's even during the pandemic when there was a lot of joblessness among our client base still. And they did improve their debt to income ratio by about 14%. A lot of our financial coaching clients do come to us because they have financial goals. And a lot of times one of them is home buying. And so they'll go through our program or work with one of our counselors who are HUD certified in order to be able to improve these ratios so they can be more successful in the home buying process. Under security and well-being, almost 90% of our clients in our parenting program improve the relationship with their kids, but more importantly, 92% retain custody of their children. This program is for at-risk, vulnerable children, families who are at risk of losing their kids to foster care or trying to get their children back from foster care. 85% of our clients in mental health counseling made progress against their treatment plans, and half, a little less than half, improved functioning in their lives. During the pandemic, this whole, mental health counseling became a really big issue for a lot of our clients, and it was very tough to support them when we couldn't be face-to-face. There are a lot of obstacles in telemental health. We finally got there, but it took us a while to be able to pivot to that. And I'll show you in a little bit some other new technology that we're using to address this.
Hey, Vanessa, real quick, were you wanting to advance some slides? Because everyone else, we're just seeing the first slide, so it's not changing on our screen.
Oh, yeah, I have advanced the slides.
Okay, we're just seeing the first slide, 70 years. It's a lot of great content. But...
Oh, okay. Sorry. Let me see if I can do this. It sounds like there's a window open.
If you want, we could take down the presenter role and then make you presenter again, see if that freshens it up.
Let's see. Hang on one second. I think I got it. Do you see that now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we see that. Great.
Okay. There we go. So that was the slide that I showed before. So it was just the numbers. All right. So now let's see if this guy works. Just give me a thumbs up if you can hear it. Thank you.
Because of how the refugee and immigrant population have been treated over time, they don't believe that they are worthy of love because they have been treated like something other than human. And so the chance to let someone know, I see you, you are a person and you deserve to be loved, that makes us all better.
I was so excited when my parents told me to come to the US. I thought it's gonna be like a happy place, but it wasn't like that when I get here. The first day, me and my family were in this country. Catholic Charities were the only place that my family knew. Catholic Charities prepare an apartment, the place where we're gonna live, the food we're gonna eat. They provide everything for our family. Without Catholic Charities, so a mercy to my family, we would not survive this. It was not easy coming from the refugee camp and then going to the school here in the US. It was a scary place for me in the school. I feel like I don't know where to go. I don't have any friend. I don't have anyone who speaks my language. I will not finish high school if I would do it alone. But I have my mentor with me, Lauren.
Catholic Charities has this wonderful mentor program where they match refugee youth with people in the community. When I met Grace, she was so quiet and so reserved, but I could tell that she was so sweet and so smart. I really felt like my role was to just be a guide to living in America and, going through high school.
Every time when I have something going on in the school, I would tell Lauren. She helped me with my homework. She would always encourage me. She's like the person I trust. I would tell her everything. I feel like she's one of my sister, one of my mom, a part of my family.
She really has become part of the family. She babysits my children, and we brought her over for Thanksgiving, and I feel like that relationship has been so transformative for both of us. It's really hard to pick out the big moments because every little moment we've had along the way has felt big.
When I knew that I'm going to graduate, I was so excited. I'll be the first person who graduated from my family.
We wanted her to graduate high school and we flew to college, and we did it. And that felt extraordinary.
And I'm so proud of myself. Working with Lauren, I gained a lot of confidence, a lot of hope, a lot of encouragement that allowed me to start helping others.
She's working at Catholic Charities, which has been really extraordinary and wonderful to see and watch her give back the wonderful gifts that she has to the organization that was helping her.
It's made me proud of myself that, I'd be able to help the mentoring program. It's like a dream come true. I wanted the people to feel comfortable at school. I don't want them to have that kind of feel inside them. I want to tell Lauren that I love her. Without her, I would not be who I am right now. She's just such a phenomenal human being, and I'm really grateful that I got to be a part of her life. And I love her so much. So proud of her.
Catholic Charities really embodies the most of what Jesus' message about service entails. It's so much more than the acts, and it's about the love, and that's what is there, and that is what is in the heart of Catholic Charities.
So this gives you an idea. I'm trying to share a different screen because I'm assuming you still see that slide, right?
We see the slide about Afghanistan station.
There we go. So I really wanted to share Lauren's story with Grace. Grace is now, she worked for us for a year as an AmeriCorps volunteer, which basically meant she worked for free. And now she's off in college because she used that year, her gap year after high school and getting into college to save a little bit of money. She made about $1,000 a month with us and to go on to university. But this shows the impact that, that transformation that we talk about in our mission is what we try to achieve. And it's this kind of very personal transformation that a lot of our services are able to get with individuals. There's a lot of interest in what's going on in Afghanistan. Grace is a refugee as well. We've been welcoming refugees to the Atlanta area since the 60s. Cuban refugees in the 70s, Vietnamese refugees. We do welcome refugees really from all over the world. Most refugees who come here come from a refugee camp. You heard Grace reference that. Most people who come from a camp, their average stay in a camp is 14 years. That's a long time. So when I'm in the office and I see 9 and 10-year-olds, or I see, 3 or 4-year-olds, I know they were likely either born in a camp, or spent, most of their life in a camp, not going to school formally, and very poor nutrition and very rough circumstances. And so getting them here really is, life changing. So the status for Afghanistan, these are refugees that are coming to us not having been to a refugee camp. So they're really being ripped out of their normal everyday life, just like you would one day living your life, and then the next you're trying to get to an airport and get on an airplane because you fear your life, and you're only able to take your husband or your wife and any child under 18 years old. Everyone else stays. So this is a really rough decision for many of these people who got on those airplanes, because for every person they brought with them, you have to think about who they left behind, and they all left people behind. And so this is a really rough transition for them to make. And so we're not only resettling them, but we're also having to deal with the trauma that they have gone through to get here, and also the trauma of living with the fact that they left people behind and they don't know when they'll see them again. So there are 85,000 plus, don't know the exact number, of evacuees and refugees that were lifted out of Afghanistan. Catholic Charities is the designated agency designated by the USCCB to resettle refugees in Georgia. There are other agencies that do this, but we are the Catholic designee for the state of Georgia. We have started receiving families already from Afghanistan. We'll probably get about 100 families or so. We have 5 parishes that have stepped up to help us sponsor families: St. Anne, St. Joseph, Transfiguration, Immaculate Heart of Mary, and Holy Trinity. Some of these have families assigned, some not yet. They're kind of in the wings. And the reason we have reached out for additional support to help us transition these families and welcome them is because these families are coming large. As I said, they brought everybody they could bring. So a lot of times it's mom, dad, and lots of children. One of the initiatives and the partnerships that we have is there's an organization that was primarily supporting armed forces when they were stationed in Afghanistan. They've turned their attention to helping us, because I was getting intel from the military bases that most of the children were coming shoeless. They didn't have any shoes. So this partnership, these wonderful network of volunteers across Georgia have been sending us shoes to be able to help these children. So when they get here, they'll have a variety, and at least we'll be able to give every child at least 2 pairs of shoes. So this is sort of the network of how we deliver services and what we aim to try and do with particular families. This is, let me see, how much time do I have, Andy?
How about 5 more minutes? Is that okay, Vanessa?
That'd be great.
Okay.
You saw the story of Lauren and what that looks like. But this is the story of a refugee family. Actually, let me go to this instead. Since I only have a little bit of time, the mental health issue that we're seeing in the community right now, a lot of it is around anxiety and depression, stress from COVID, stress from the loss of family members, stress from thinking about getting sick, stress from trying to prevent from becoming ill, all of these stressors. And so one of the things that we've been trying to do is leveraging technology to expand our services and to be able to fill gaps and needs. So one of the things that we did with our ESL classes is that we went to Zoom like day one last February actually. And we used Zoom for about a month and a half and then figured out it was not going to work for us. So we then pivoted to a program called Blackboard, which is what all the online universities use. So we thought if that technology was good for them, it'd be good for us. So that's enabled us to really expand from 3 counties to offering ESL in 7 counties. And as a matter of fact, we have a couple of sisters from South America who've been tuning into our ESL classes because they're waiting on visas to come to the United States to serve. So they're also taking our ESL classes via this Blackboard technology. The other one is something called Sister Hope. So we are providing not just for the Atlanta area, but we've partnered with the Archdiocese of Savannah, and we're providing something called Sister Hope, which is a chat bot, if you will, that I'd like to share with you. So can you see the screen of the video? Okay, super.
During the pandemic, what we saw happening in a lot of families is stress. All of this stress has created a strong need in the community for mental health counseling. And so where do you get relief? What can we do? So we're so excited to be introducing a text application that can help those who are feeling distressed or just need someone to talk to. It's called Hope, and it's offered in both English and Spanish. It's a confidential way to get relief.
Vanessa, we just lost audio. You just muted yourself.
Strategies to help deal with on a daily basis. We've seen a significant uptick in people needing assistance from someone who can reach out to them and help them engage with the care plan. And that's where Hope comes in. There's not a person behind the screen looking at your messages, and it allows you to be completely honest and open and eventually find a pathway to the right care plan for you.
People are human issues, and a lot of times they don't know where to go, or they may not, want to walk into a physical location, or they may not know how. So our mission is to instill hope and reduce barriers to self-sufficiency. Sister Hope is something that everybody can use. You don't need to have data on your phone. It's just a great resource. It's an avenue to make you feel like you're not alone, and I think that is very important. We just want people to have a resource. Not feeling alone creates a sense of hope.
All right, so that's really Sister Hope, and that is something that for this group particularly, if you want to be able to spread that among the communities that you're working in, this is a completely free resource. It's great for young adults. It's great for anyone, actually. It's English and Spanish. And it's, leading edge technology in the sense that corporations have been offering this kind of technology through their EAP systems for years. And it's just now that venture capitalists are taking this and making it possible for nonprofits like us to be able to use the technology for the general public and those who ordinarily wouldn't have access to this kind of support. So I'm happy to send you the details on how to connect to this. If you want to share it widely. Like I said, it's completely complimentary to the general public. So that's a little bit about, who we are, what we do, some of the cool stuff that we're working on. And I would have to say in my career, at least, I've never been more proud to be Catholic than I am through the work of this organization. And you should feel proud to be Catholic too, for the work that we do on behalf of our faith. This really is our faith in action every single day. We're a little over 100. We're about 85 full-time staff, add another 100 or so of full-time volunteers who make this work possible in the community. And every day we represent, I think, what's best about our religion and our faith. So I appreciate the opportunity to come. I'm happy to come back again, and I'm happy to share some of this information, Andy, so you can get it out to the rest of the group. I saw some questions in the chat bot, so I'll be able to answer all of that if you want to throw those to me, and you can distribute that. So thank you all for the opportunity to be here. I appreciate all the work that you do, and you know, together I know we're all making Atlanta a better place to be. So thank you.
Hey, thanks so much, Vanessa. Yeah, we really appreciate you having coming on board this morning, and just how much a model Catholic Charities is for how we live out Catholic social teaching. You know, putting our words into real acts of charity, and that whole vision of the charity to families, the charity to those who are in need, not leaving them as they are, but really helping empower them and taking the next steps. Vanessa, I know we had a few questions. We can send those over your way, but I just wonder if you might comment on one of them about parishes who are serving as sponsors for having sponsor families for refugees coming in. Is there a particular need, more of a need for that now? Are you guys pretty much covered? And is there anything else we should know about that?
Well, you know, just briefly, a lot of people don't know the expenses that refugees come with. So for every family, every actual individual that was evacuated from, you saw those horrible pictures of the Afghanistan, of the airport in Kabul, but every single person that was airlifted out of there and has come to the United States comes with a loan to repay the U.S. federal government for their airfare. So a family of 5 might come with a debt of anywhere from $2,500 to maybe $3,500 in debt right off the bat that they have to pay back. And we work with those refugees the minute they get here on a budget. And we take that in consideration because we want them to retire that debt as quickly as possible. And so that's an area that's particularly helpful for us to be able to work with families to get them self-sufficient, and to be able to work with them on actually moving forward with their life if we can get rid of that debt. So there's a lot of things like that. Now with schools being hybrid, technology is more important than ever for these refugees. They've literally come with what's on their back. When they left their home, they pretty much didn't bring anything. So technology, laptops, those are some of the things that parish sponsorship helps them with, just those little extras that we're not able to provide because we do get a stipend from the federal government to help families along. You saw on the video that Grace was saying that we provided them everything. We do when they walk in the door with donated furniture. We set up their apartment. We get them started. We help them for about 3-4 months, and then they have to make it on their own. We're still supporting them for the extra 2, but we have to get there. So the sponsorship is just filling in those gaps, and every family is going to be different based on what they need. And so if parishes are interested, we're going to have at least probably 10 families. We've got 5. We might have some individuals that come in that might need a little extra help. So if people are interested in doing that, we do have a pretty good description on our website on how you can help. But in particular, if someone's passionate and their parish wants to step up, they can contact me.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much, Vanessa. Super helpful. We'll get this information out to everybody, and some of those other questions we'll make sure we follow up on. So thanks again for your time, Vanessa. You're doing great work out there, and we'll keep up the prayers for Catholic Charities. Definitely. Look forward to having you on board in the future.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks. All right. God bless. Y'all, I'm just gonna give a couple brief updates, and then I'll cede the floor again to Michelle and Patrice so they can run through some updates as well. But just to echo, it's so great seeing you all again, and thanks for your patience. Thanks for following up on that survey that we sent out about our calls. We know we couldn't find a day that's like best for everybody. So it really landed between Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we went with Tuesday right now, and we'll kind of keep moving forward, and hopefully it'll be good for folks moving forward doing the monthly PCL call. But I just wanted to give you a little bit of an update on things that we've been doing internally in the Office of Formation and Discipleship. We're excited about it, and we hope it'll have good impacts, as we're moving forward in the future. We're looking to rename our office to Evangelization and Discipleship. It would be probably a few months off down the road because we're relooking at our websites, our web pages, the way we're communicating, all that type of thing, but try to just achieve more clarity about what we're already doing, what we've been talking about, our priorities, things that I think we're all familiar with, especially during our journey through the new directory for catechesis, to reframe everything through the lens of evangelization. And we're all called to do that, especially as catechetical leaders, seeing catechesis, on the front lines of evangelization in so many ways. So as an office, we've been sort of reconceiving ourselves, and part of that has been involving a clarity of our positions. And with Patrice and Michelle's positions in particular, for those of you who have followed us closely, like last year, Patrice was able to enter into a full-time role with us. She had been part-time for several years, and we had an opportunity to kind of have two full-time people just focused on faith formation. And originally we had distinguished it, Michelle having more of a metro emphasis, Patrice more of a regional emphasis in terms of the title. But the way the jobs were working, the tasks were working, there was a lot of overlap, but there was also certain areas that each of them had specific leads on. And the metro and regional distinction practically really wasn't working, especially with COVID, where we're reaching a lot of people virtually, that type of thing. So as part of our ways of kind of moving forward with more mission-centeredness and more clarity, we've retitled their positions. So Patrice being a ministry lead for family catechesis and curriculum, and Michelle being a ministry lead for catechesis and certification. There's different reasons for that, but first of all, it's to highlight the fact that we have really taken a next step in providing leadership when it comes to family faith formation, family catechesis. And Patrice has a lead role on that. We're all supporting that as a team, but Patrice is really a lead on family catechesis. And then also with curriculum, we need to review it. We need to look at our religion curriculum, our theology, our catechetical curriculum, and that's a big project moving forward. Patrice will have a lead on that. There's overlap with Michelle's position. Michelle being catechesis and certification, more general catechetical support, as well as a focus on a lead on administering the certification aspects of our office. And certification is another area, and some of you on the call, we're part of that committee. I'm looking specifically at Joyce, but others may have been involved back in the day with that certification work. And we need to relook at that through the lens of the new directory for catechesis. And so there's a lot of priority work that needs to be done with certification and curriculum. Both Michelle and Patrice will be kind of working on that, and the whole team will be working on that. We'll be calling on you, our PCLs, to help with that as we move forward. But we wanted to give more clarity to Michelle and Patrice's roles and leads, and I'm just grateful that we have the ability to have such a focus in this strength of emphasis on catechesis. We also wanted to retrieve the term catechesis. Faith formation is a great general term that we use as well, and we know we've been moving away from the term religious education. It's still a common term out there in the realm of work, but to really move towards more of faith formation, catechesis, discipleship, moving away from, say, PSR to terms that kind of more denote away from the school model, that this is evangelization, catechesis, discipleship formation that we're all engaged in. So that was part of the reason too, to kind of lift up that term catechesis. And as we change our name to evangelization and discipleship in the coming months, that relationship between evangelization and catechesis, we hope, will continue to be strengthened. So that's just some inside scoop on what we're doing. We're probably the most excited about it right now just because we're in the thick of it, but we know it's really meant to serve the long-term efforts of our support and service to you all, and as we're moving forward. My other update, I'll just speak to this now, Michelle and Patrice, with regards to the Catechist Conference. And I know several of you have been part of the planning committee for our Catechist conferences, and just want to give you an update about what we're planning. So instead of having a Catechist conference this coming year, the plan is to have it in 2023, to move, at least for right now, for the time being, to an every other year model. Part of that rationale will be to emphasize the Eucharistic Congress as a strong opportunity for, not only PCLs, but especially our catechists as well, to make sure that we're really promoting that. And we're hoping to actually have some type of partnership with Virtual Catholic Conference where they would offer a virtual component that would sort of be linked to the Eucharistic Congress. We're still working out the details there, but we could get a few more speakers that would be just for the virtual side of it and really promote that among our catechists. This Eucharistic Congress is going to be different than any other that we've had in the Archdiocese. The reason for that is that it's going to launch this 3-year Eucharistic revival that the bishops are calling the Church of the United States to enter into. And we've been talking about Eucharistic renewal. We're in a year of Eucharistic renewal. The Archbishop wanted us to just kind of start on that, but really to anticipate what's coming from the bishops of the United States and leveraging our own Eucharistic Congress as a real point of entry for that. So we really want to encourage as many people to take advantage of the Eucharistic Congress this year, have some preparation leading up. We have some good ideas about forming some discipleship teams around the Congress, and y'all will be hearing more about that in the coming months to assist this whole 3-year revival process. So that's coming in the future. There's more to come on that. Right now, I would just say pray on it, and we'll find some time to reconvene our local planning committee as well to do some deeper dives in terms of how we can best leverage the Eucharistic Congress, especially for our catechists, and as we're moving forward. And we're still working things out, in terms of other services we might provide during these off years where we don't have a full catechist conference, but we also want to strengthen our basic formation, basic certification opportunities, and find ways where we're offering support all the time. So Michelle, Patrice, it's yours.
Okay, thank you, Andy. And so if I announce myself and give out an old business card, please forgive me. Or forget my new title. Patrice, before we run out of time, I want to make sure we have the opportunity to talk about the Families Forming Disciples live training. I will put up the dates if you would like to speak to that, and then we'll go over some other things.
Okay, on October 26th, so we're going to stick with Tuesdays, so that's going to be 2 weeks. We're going to do a live training for Families Forming Disciples. And it's more going to be about a networking. If you look if you're using Families Forming Disciples and you look on the website, you'll see that there are very short trainings that have already been recorded this year. They will be, they will also have Spanish subtitles. So Spanish will still be covered this year. We're still offering the curriculum in English and in Spanish, but this is primarily for your catechist and for you. But it'll be an opportunity to talk about how things are going, best practices, implementation, those kinds of things. Maybe talk a little bit about the actual content, because what we did this year is the content, it's not just living the faith in your home where they might have some familiarity with that. It's going to have some theological concepts that we just want to make sure the catechists are clear on. So we'll have a training or a gathering on October 26th. We'll probably do 2 p.m. and 7 p.m., which is what we have done in the past. And so we're going to be offering these live sessions a few times throughout the year. So we're not going to do it every month. We did it last year. We did every month. but we still have a recorded training for every month. So this is the live gathering. We get a lot of great feedback. I know that there's a lot of parishes that are starting with first year this year. So this would be for both first and second year. And we tweak and change what we do according to the feedback that we get from you. You know, we know that nothing's perfect and we can improve. So we really appreciate your being there, but also we will have some things, hopefully, to be able to support and answer some of your questions and just walk with you along the way, because this is a journey for all. So anyone who's interested in Family Swarming Disciples for the following years is definitely welcome as well. So you don't have to be using it right now, but maybe curious and want some information about it. So we will send out some reminders on that. Thank you.
Thanks, Patrice. And along with, we hope to get a flyer out on that and get it out to y'all. But along with that, we also want to do a quick, brief poll to verify that we know who is using it in whatever shape or form you have chosen to use Family Forming Disciples. If you're just pulling some videos, if you're using it as is, if you are pulling it apart and putting it back together, all that is great and wonderful, and we encourage that. But we want to basically make sure that we have a good database as to those people who may act as mentors for others. Maybe they're in their second year and they're comfortable and they want to, if somebody's having issues or struggling a little bit in their first year, we can get you together with another parish that has some background on this, has done it, and may have some good ideas for you. So we want it as a mentoring and also as a support group. So the training would probably not last. We had a question, Patrice. We're averaging an hour for training, I assume.
Yeah, we'll keep it to an hour. The live training, we'll go over a few things, and then we're really hoping to get some good conversation going, some practical tips that will be helpful at this stage, and to get a feel for where everybody is. If they've started using it, have done it for a couple months at their parish, now is kind of a good time to stop and look and see what are the struggles, what are the obstacles, and how can we work through them together, because there's always answers out there. Every parish is doing this differently, so there's no wrong way to do it, but we can learn from each other.
Great. Thank you. Okay, just a few other brief things. We do have information about the Eucharistic Renewal. There's also a page going up on the Eucharistic Congress for 2022. I will post these before the end of the meeting. They'll also be in the notes, and we will post this video as soon as it renders. So you'll have the notes as to what was said and the links on that, as well as the recording. So the other thing coming up is senior ministry, adult ministry is having a wonderful meeting about, hang on, I'm just copying the link, meeting about caregivers. So you want to check that out. If you have there it goes up on there. That's their Zoom link, and that is going to be Thursday, October 21st at 10 a.m. So Senior Adult Ministry, they're doing some really wonderful work and support. So if you have a senior ministry at your parish, or you're interested, or if you just want to have this option of learning more about caregivers and what the latest and greatest is on caregivers and how to support them and how to encourage that, I would encourage you to go to the Senior Adult Ministry call on the 21st. The other thing that we've got going is that we will have an RCIA open forum coming up on November 9th at 1 p.m. and on November 16th in Spanish at 6:30 p.m. And I'm going to throw those links up there real briefly. Charles, if you're with us, if you could do a real brief synopsis of what you're going to be covering in that, I open the floor up to you briefly.
Absolutely. The English and Spanish are essentially identical for this. We know some people only communicate in one language. This has come out of an LTP workshop that occurred earlier this year. 3 of us went to that workshop, and what we've done is distill down RCIA and children. And a lot of people don't realize there is no children's RCIA. There's only one RCIA, and children are included with adults, as we know. So what we have as a format is we're looking at the 5 common models that you see in most parishes. We're also bringing in the concepts of what we learned at LTP on how to incorporate the family, which speaks to families forming disciples. It's right down that alley, actually, with this, because it is the initiating community that is the true catechist, for this. So we're getting into detail on that, and also how people may have sponsors for this. And I think everyone's going to enjoy it. It's about 60 minutes to 75 minutes. So please come and please spread the word. The link is posted, and hope everyone will be able to attend. Thank you, Michelle.
I just muted myself. Thank you so much, Charles. Maggie Rousseau, you just posted something about Nourish for caregivers, also for families of children or adults with disabilities. Is that something separate, or do you have a link for that for us?
I think that's the same as the presentation accompanying
Okay,
caregiver.
that's what I thought. Okay, great. I just wanted to make sure I didn't have something separate. So thank you, Andy. Okay, and the last thing I'm putting up are the different links for documents on the Synod and also for Eucharistic Renewal. And the latest COVID update has not been added to, but that's the link for it. So thank you, Maggie. I think that pretty much does everything that we wanted to cover. The one thing I came across something from the Archdiocese of, I think it's Detroit or Lansing, and for family catechesis purposes, it's called 52 Sundays, and it's ideas. It's a booklet that they're putting out for different ideas you can do every Sunday. It does cost $12.50 plus shipping, but I'm sending you guys the link because it looked really interesting. It may give you some different ideas to do with your families forming disciples, or just in general for your faith formation. Maybe get some ideas from this and send it to your families, and something different that they can do to live a liturgical life as Catholics. So that's it. We've got 3 minutes, opening it up to the floor for anybody that wants to say anything. Go ahead, Elaine.
Yeah, so I just wanted to mention, this is something we're doing next week for youth ministers. It's called Youth Ministry Mindset, and it will be here in person at the Chancery down in the Grand Halls. There are 2 sessions that we're offering, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. or from 5:30 to 7:30. I will let you know right now, there are only 2 people who have signed up for the evening session, but we've got over 20 that have signed up for the daytime session from 10 to 12. So I know there are some youth ministers on here. If you haven't already signed up for it, please consider it. It's being moderated by the folks from Alpha Catholic and Y Disciple. And it's really it will be just a gathering session for youth ministers to talk about moving your ministry from transactional to transformational. So it's really a chance to network, talk about best practices, find out what's happening out in youth ministry right now. But if you are a DRE, encourage your youth minister to go ahead and sign up for it. And I did put that in the chat. I put the link. It's free to attend, but we need to know how many people are coming, because we are setting up tables and they need to be socially distanced and all that stuff. So thanks.
Thanks, Elaine. Last thing, go ahead.
No, okay. That was it.
Okay. Last thing, Sherry Waddell is coming live to the Chancery. That's November 2nd? Yes. November 2nd. And I neglected to get the link, but you should have gotten the Faith and Formation newsletter. It's also been out in the memo that comes out weekly. I don't know if you happen to have it handy, Andy, if you could. That sounds good. Handy, Andy, if you can put it up in the chat. But we'd encourage you. We do need to, again, as Elaine is saying, we do need to know how many people are coming. And that's in the morning of November 2nd. I think it's a great opportunity to take advantage of an amazing national speaker. So we encourage you to do that. And Andy's going to post that up. And I think that's it. Thank you, Andy.
Hey, Michelle.
Yeah.
I've read 52 Weeks. I think it's a great resource. I'm not a family and children's catechist, but I would give it thumbs up. It's worth looking at. That's just my opinion.
Thank you for the thumbs up on that. Does anybody else briefly want to bring anything to the floor that we can help you with, or that we need to be aware of? Okay, hearing none. I appreciate it. I thank you for taking the time. It was great to gather. It was great to hear about Vanessa. So we will follow up on Catholic Charities Atlanta, and any of the questions that were in the chat. We will follow up on those, get answers, and put those into the chat. Or you can feel free to email Vanessa at Catholic Charities Atlanta directly. It was great to hear some of those amazing things and what these families are facing and how we can help some people. So thank you for your time. Let's end in a glory be. Name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, it is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen. Name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit again. St. Joseph, pray for us. Thank you guys, and have a marvelous week. Let us know if we can do anything for you.
Thanks, everybody. God bless. Thanks, Michelle. Thanks, Patrice. Thanks, Yvonne. Thanks so much.